Living in the city in the next few weeks. The next one is also at the Colston Hall next month, and that's a sellout as well.
This afternoon, Cliff Richard was busy supervising last-minute arrangements for tonight's concert. He's in the middle of a tour of main centres raising funds for charity. Last night it was Eastbourne, tomorrow it'll be Portsmouth. Tonight's sellout show is in aid of Italian earthquake relief. He's not been to Italy, but in the past he has visited disaster areas and found it a humbling experience.
Well, it makes me very grateful, I must say. A long time ago I stopped being involved in things like this because of a feeling of guilt. It's a feeling of gratitude that says, you know, I want to give something back, not because I'm guilty, but because I'm grateful for what I have. And so those visits affected me and it helped me mature, I think, in my thinking.
Now, you work very hard at it. Last night you were in Eastbourne, tonight you're here, tomorrow you're in Portsmouth. How do you keep going?
Just get in the car and go, really. I mean, I don't feel like retiring, you see, and I feel physically fit enough to cope with it. My throat gets a little tired with 2 shows a night. Normally when I'm doing my ordinary concerts, we only do 1 show a night, and so therefore these shows are quite a strain for me physically. But I enjoy it, you know. I actually enjoy touring, so it's no great problem.
Now, you've been a pop star in your 20s and in your 30s. Are you still going to be singing when you're 50?
I suppose so, really. I can't see it changing. It's like if you'd said to Frank Sinatra when he was 20, would you still be singing the kind of material you're singing when you're 60? He would probably have said no, but I mean, as times have gone, he's still singing the way he used to and still singing the sort of stuff he did. So what happened was that rock and roll came along and it was basically a young man's music. But then what happened was that those young men grew up and became people like me, and our tastes don't change. And my taste is still for rock and roll. It's my favorite form of music, and I can't believe that it's going to change overnight and I'll suddenly get all classical.
The big question everybody wants to know the answer to, really, is how do you manage to keep looking so young?
Well, there isn't any answer, really. I must be very fortunate. My mother looks young, so maybe it's in the genes. I don't mean the denim sort either.
You don't go to health farms, anything like that?
No. No, I went on a diet a long time ago because I was grossly overweight. I was about 2.5 stone heavier, would you believe, than I am now. So I got the weight down, and I found that the big secret is, once you've got it down, is to keep it down. And all I do is when I go on tour, for instance, the temptation to eat is great. And I force myself to have a sort of piece of bread toasted for breakfast and then don't eat anything till after the show. And by sticking to 1 meal a day, I don't put any weight on. Maybe I don't lose anything, but I don't put any on. But as I'm the weight I want to be now, that's okay by me.
And you'll still be singing when you're 60, 70, 80?
I might be, well, I don't know if my voice stays. I mean, who knows? By the time, in 10 years, my voice may have gone. If I'm lucky enough and it stays, then I intend to use it. But there again, even if I've got a voice, if I make the wrong records, no one's going to buy them anyway, so it'll be taken out of my hands.
It is the annual school concert of St Brandon's in Clevedon, but when you have Cliff Richard on the board of governors willing to join in, then the school hall just isn't big enough. So tonight, Bristol's Colston Hall is the venue, and it's a sellout. This year, St Brandon's is celebrating its 150th anniversary, and the proceeds will go towards building a new sports hall for the girls. The school choir has been rehearsing for months to back Cliff, but how did he become to be associated with the school in the first place?
Well, really, they began because a friend of mine happens to be the headmaster there, and I mean, I've known him for a long, long time. And in fact, he mooted the idea originally sometime last year, and I thought that he was just gagging around. I've never thought of myself as the governor of a school, so really, I'm a new boy at a girls' school too.
Now, tonight's concert with some 400 schoolgirls is certainly going to be different.
It's got to be interesting, hasn't it? I mean, you see, it's like, it's difficult to know whether one can call it a performance other than a vocal performance. You know, usually when I come on a stage, I bring in hundreds of pounds worth of lights and sound. I don't have an orchestra and choir, mind you. So it's certainly going to be an interesting evening. I think anybody that comes will see me in a different light, and I hopefully enjoy it. I mean, I'm sure they will, in fact. I mean, the fact that there's a fusion of sort of rock and roll and sort of a choir and orchestra should be quite nice.
Cliff, of course, has been making hit records for more than 20 years, making him as much a part of the parents' generation as he is of the girls. When he started his career all that time ago, Bill Haley was one of the pioneers of pop, and his death yesterday means the end of a musical era.
He was a vital factor. I mean, I'm never quite sure whether he in fact started before Elvis or not. All I know is that the Elvis image was what grabbed me. I wanted to be like Elvis, whereas the Bill Haley thing was what excited everyone in the early days. I mean, there's no doubt that his music had fantastic excitement. I'm really thrilled because just about 3 weeks ago, I acquired a guitar that was made for Bill Haley, you see. He'd had a stroke, though, or something like that, and he decided not to work so much, so therefore he didn't buy it, and I've got the guitar. And I shall treasure it now even more, because there's no doubt that he played a large part in the careers that people like myself now have. I mean, he and Elvis were really the ultimate pioneers of rock and roll. You know, the Shadows and I pioneered it here and in Europe, but they gave it to the world.
Meanwhile, the girls and Cliff have been hard at rehearsal all afternoon.